guys, welcome to let's call it episode 1 of the new Fiddler vlog. I just wanted to, so you probably saw the title. The title is something like, you know, don't listen to the, what is it? It'll say something like, don't listen to the advice on Reddit. Buy yourself a cheap student violin. Now, there really is this attitude at the moment on the subreddit, you know, r/violinist, to go out and rent your first violin. Now, should you do that? Yeah, do it. But it's not the only way to start playing violin. You don't have to go out and rent to buy some mid-range violin. The reason that the low-budget student violin is pretty much in circulation and in mass manufacturing is because it works perfectly for a beginner violinist or a beginner fiddler. Why? Because what you're doing is, when you're doing what the people on Reddit are telling you to do, is that you're subscribing to the typical attitude of modern day first world, and that is to be in debt to someone. Now, the simplest thing you can do is to just spend like $100 on a cheap violin, and then to see if you actually like doing it. So I've played guitar for 15 years and I'm fucking as mediocre as fuck. Like, I'm not a good guitarist. I have a certain talent, which is musical, where like, I'm at that point now that if it's a typical pop song that subscribes to one of the 10 different chord variations of like G, D, E minor, A minor, and C or whatever, and I know the song, I can play it. You just show it to me on Ultimate Guitar Tabs on your phone, and within about 5 minutes, if I know that song well enough, we'll be playing it and singing it. But I'm a shit guitarist. And yet, even though I'm mediocre and I've been playing for 15 years, I would never say to someone, go and rent to buy a good guitar when you start out. The best advice you can give a beginner musician is to buy a shit one and then see if you like it, and then spend a year saving for your forever instrument, whether it be guitar or violin. Don't subscribe to this shit of walking into a music store and come face to face with a salesperson. They're the fucking worst people in the world. Or, even scarier, is coming face to face with a luthier, like a violin luthier, and say you want a violin, and they start handing you this shit. They start handing you fucking $5,000, okay, let's go lower, like $2,000, $1,000 violins, and go, how does this feel? And you're like, I don't know, I haven't even done an hour of practice yet. I mean, not only is that extremely embarrassing, but you're fucking wasting money and you're wasting that guy's time. You walk into a music store, half the time they don't even know how to play the violin. They have as much fucking knowledge about violins as you do. You probably have more because you've been on the internet trying to learn about them. So don't be afraid to fucking jump on Amazon and buy a cheap violin. This is a cheap violin. I've told you time and time again on my progress videos and other videos on my channel. This is cheap as fuck. 120 bucks. 170 if you include the D'Addario strings that are on it, approximately. And I've been playing it for a year. The only fault that I've had is that I can't completely loosen my bow anymore. So when I turn this, oh, it's doing it now. Oh, so there you go. I don't even have a problem. So do you need some non-student type violin, whatever that it means? I'm still a beginner too. I don't know the difference between a normal violin and a fucking student violin. Price maybe, but if it's like a Stentor or a Cremona, it's still going to be mass produced from the same exact wood as this as a Cremona fucking $60. Well, it's not a Cremona if it's a $60 one. It's exactly the same company, and it's a Mendini. So same company, made from the same fucking wood. Probably the only difference is this is probably a little bit more expensive. This is a little bit more expensive. Don't get sucked into this bullshit. Like, Reddit has this real schoolboy attitude of like, once like one like experienced Redditor makes a comment like, oh, you shouldn't buy a mass-produced violin, you should you know, rent to buy from a luthier. I mean, it's such a dick move. Like, of course that they're going to tell you that, you know, when they hit, you know, they walked in with mum and dad when they were like 13 to buy their expensive fucking 4/4 violin, and, you know, dad did all the talking. Like, I dare you to fucking walk into luthier, like a violin luthier, and ask to like try violins with like 0 hours of practice. You're going to look like the biggest fucking muppet. Don't do it. Go on Amazon, buy yourself, well, this is a Stag. I've told you this before, I'm not going to tell you again. So there's Stag, there's Yamaha, there's Mendini. Mendini has all the little bits in it, and that's awesome. But again, like, don't buy a violin because it comes with a shoulder rest, because it won't be the right shoulder rest for you. Don't buy a cheap shoulder rest. I talk about that too. But yeah, don't subscribe to this Reddit attitude of renting to buy. Yeah, do that on your second year, you know. Maybe it's something I should be doing now, but I love my fucking shit violin. That's exactly how I felt about my guitars. I love my $120, $150 guitar. Yamaha piece of shit. It was black. I actually have had fucking heaps of them. And none of them have cost over $200. And they've always served me well. So, yeah. Sorry about my rant, but I'm so sick of just watching new fiddlers and new violin on both fiddle and the violin subreddits asking for advice about violins, and people just cutting them off straight away and telling them like, go rent to buy. Like, we need to take in so many considerations when we're discussing this kind of shit with people on the net. Like, one, is there even a fucking violin luthier or a violin music shop in their country? Like I live an hour away from Copenhagen, so I'm okay. So I can go to Copenhagen and choose from 3 different luthiers. But you think I can fucking find a fiddle teacher here? There's like an ocean of classical violinist teachers here. Like, I'm paying very, very low crowns, Danish crowns. I am paying so cheap for my lessons. Like, I paid 6 months straight up. It was that cheap, and it barely scratched my bank account. Like, it's like being a fucking programmer. Like, they're a dime a dozen. But if you can find a fiddle teacher here in Denmark, Scandinavia, fucking tell me, because I'm not willing to travel like onto the other islands, so Fyn and Jylland. Like, I live in Sjælland, so I want to stay in Sjælland. But nobody cares about that. So do yourself a really big favor, guys. If you want to start the violin, buy yourself don't buy the $60 Mendini. I think it's the MV400. Don't buy that piece of shit. Like, go one up. Go the 500. It's still cheap as shit. It's probably cheaper than this. You can even buy this, man. Go onto the New Fiddler website and go to My Gear, and you can find the link to it. But don't worry, we're not talking about that. But if you want this, like, if you like, okay, that looks like a good violin, go for it. But don't get sucked into this bullshit about having to fucking rock up to a luthier and embarrass yourself fucking not even knowing how to hold a bow properly. Don't do it. Like, stay at home. in the safety of your fucking computer chair and your fucking computer desk and your laptop, and browse what Amazon can give you. And I'll tell you, like, millions of people before you have done exactly the same and have successfully learnt the violin or the fiddle from doing this. So yeah, peace out, guys. Maybe I'll just play my violin for a minute. Still kind of learning to sit down and play. I'm sitting down. I still can't get used to that. All right, guys, peace out.